Congratulations, we're about to find you your next home. So, Jeremy, what's the job of a buyer's agent?
Well, it's interesting because over the years, the job of an agent that represents buyers has changed a lot. Early in our career and early in the industry, a buyer's agent was the only resource to find what house you were going to buy. Nowadays, the internet has changed everything, and most homes are accessible online to everybody. And so the role of a buyer's agent has moved into more of the negotiating, the representing your best interest, the getting the best price. What happens, we represent you through the transaction. We provide you good information along the way so you can make a good decision. And the last thing is to make sure all the necessary steps and actions are taken through the process and all the necessary deadlines are met, because you're entering a legal and binding contract that has deadlines and expiration dates, and so we have to follow those very closely.
And that's a great benefit of working with our team, because not only is the agent kind of setting up and kind of leading and directing on how that process goes, but there's staff behind him, great staff who are actually behind the scenes, who are helping, making sure all those deadlines are met the way they're supposed to be met, and keeping everything organized and in process throughout the transaction. So
let's talk about representation. Mm-hmm. When I signed an agreement, what does that mean?
So basically, and I'm glad you brought that up, because a lot of people don't understand representation. Representation is when you actually have a signed agreement where the agent is representing you to buy that home. So for example, if you find a for sale by owner, if you find a home that your neighbor wants to sell it, or if you're at an open house and you like that home, then basically call your agent and tell them about that home. They are trained and they are ready and they're experienced to be able to help talk to the seller about that information. What we find many times, if you talk to the seller directly, you lose some of your negotiation power to be able to do that. And you hired us, so you should call us. Many times also you'll find another agent, and they might ask you, so if you find another agent and they are wanting to help you, just tell them that you have already hired us, and then they will basically say, oh, okay, well, I'll leave you alone. And it makes it easier, because then you don't have 4 or 5 agents calling you and trying to follow up and trying to represent you as well. So, and the biggest thing here is just to stay transparent with your agent. And so basically tell them what's on your mind. Tell them if you're confused about something. Tell them if you're worried about something, because odds are it can be fixed really easily, but we have to know because everybody's different. And so just bring it up. Talk to them, communicate. We always say that with trust and communication, we can have a great experience. And so we just need you to trust us, communicate with us, and that's how we can make this a smooth transaction. And of course, it's important for us to keep everything confidential. And so talk to us, tell us what's going on, so that we can really help you and you can trust us to be able to do that. And learn everything up front, because the more we know, the easier we can create a path that leads you to home ownership with the least amount of stress.
So do I have to sign a representation agreement? What if my agent doesn't do a good job?
No, that's a good question. Sometimes personalities clash and you don't know right out of the gate. But what the state requires we disclose is the difference between a customer and a client. And so I always tell my clients that I spend time with 3 groups of people: my family, my friends, and my clients. They are my priority. And so if you want to be a client, what's necessary is that representation agreement. And what happens is that it adds protection, it adds confidentiality, it adds a relationship that now we can sit across the table and know anything you tell me doesn't leave the table. And so then I can go and negotiate for you the same way I would for my own family. And that protection is what's really happy, or that protection is what really makes a difference with that contract. If you're unhappy with your agent and that you feel like there's just a misunderstanding, or there's not a good rapport
like communication
there, if communication doesn't seem to be what you like, talk to them, let them know. We're super open to for feedback. And then at the end of the day, if you really don't want to use that agent and you're in an agreement, you can call any three of us and we can help you locate another agent or help you through the process as well.
So what if I find a property somewhere else, like a for sale by owner or Zillow?
Yeah.
And I just want more information. It's not like I want to go get another agent. I just want more information.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people think, oh, well, let me just call this other person so I don't bother my agent. That's what we don't want you to think. I mean, call us because we're the ones, we want to know what you're looking at, what you're interested in. And also be aware that if you call a seller, you know, or the listing agent, the person on the sign, their duty is to represent their seller. Their duty is to represent their seller.
Their duty is to represent their seller.
Okay, so anything they're going to do is try to be in the best interest of the seller. And so you can't really trust them to do what's in your best interest. Okay, and so call your agent. That's the most important thing. Call them if you see something you like. Be aware of how tricky the market is, though, because a lot of times right now, especially we're in a low inventory market, these real estate companies that are online, they aren't really real estate companies, they're lead generation companies. And so I had someone call me up the other day and they said, hey, I wasn't really looking at buying a house, but I want to buy these two houses. It seems too good to be true. Well, it was. And when it seems that way, it usually is. But a lot of these lead generation companies like Zillow and things like that, they're actually putting on fake listings. Okay. So they're listings that either sold 2 years ago that had a lot of views, so they know they'll get a lot of views because their job is to basically sell leads, and a buyer is a lead. So they want you to call, they want you to inquire so they can get you to another agent. Just call your agent. They'll tell you if it's fake, if it's real. And many times, I mean, there's a lot of tricks out there that they're basically using to be able to do that. So call your agent. They're the ones who represent you. No one else represents you. So call the person that wants to help you.
Don't take the bait.
It's bait.
Yeah.
It is totally
It's bait.
bait.
Yeah.
Don't take the bait.
Yeah.
So basically, I should call my agent for anything.
Yeah.
Your agent is your resource, and as the team, you'll be assigned a transaction coordinator as well, and we're always available as well. And so you'll have a team of people behind you that at any point in the game, you have somebody to talk to for anything involving real estate. So,
And we can't anything's a big word. We can't guarantee that they're going to know how to change your oil, you know, or you know, switch out your spark plugs. But real estate related, call your agent because we're going to be able to make it smooth and help you out. And so just remember that with good information,
You can make good
you make good
decisions.
decisions.